Today's lesson is Cuba, a journey to the heart of the Caribbean. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
Hello, I'm Kiki.
And we're traveling to Cuba in today's lesson, or Cuba. You could pronounce it either way. This is an island nation in the Caribbean Sea, and it's a paradise for a lot of people. They would like to go there. They dream of going there. I wouldn't mind going there myself someday, because I can practice my Spanish, although I did have a roommate in university who was from Cuba, and I think I had a professor in the Spanish department who was also from Cuba, and I must say that Cuban Spanish is really difficult to understand. I was more familiar with Mexican Spanish, but when you hear the Cubans speaking Spanish, it's very difficult to understand. But in any case, it would probably be very interesting to go check out Cuba, and we did talk about some of the places you can visit in Havana, didn't we?
That's right. We can start off in the capital city, Havana, and take a leisurely walk along the Malecón. And then you can visit the old part of Havana, which is called the Old Square, and it is a plaza. What happened at this plaza?
The plaza has existed since the mid-1500s and has been the site of bullfights, religious processions, and even executions. Not too far away from there, there's the cathedral, where it once held the remains of Christopher Columbus. And, of course, if you're interested in the Spanish period, you could go to Havana Bay and go to the Morro Cabaña Military Historical Park. And you can see the forts there, which were built to defend against pirates and the British in the 1500s and 1700s, respectively. So let's find out more about Cuba in today's lesson. Let's get out of Havana now and go to a national park first. Let's listen to the first part right now.
A 3-hour drive to the west of Havana is Viñales National Park, where you'll find striking limestone hills called mogotes that emerge impressively from the earth. It's highly recommended that you stay in one of the many casas particulares, private homes licensed to host foreign visitors. You can also take tours of coffee and tobacco plantations, go horseback riding, hike, and explore the depths of the numerous caves that dot the landscape.
大家好，我们来看第一部分中的单字 emerge， 它是动词，意思是出现、露出，也可以是形成或是兴起的意思。例如 After several days, the butterfly emerged from the cocoon. 几天之后，蝴蝶就脱蛹而出了。或者 That bar has emerged as one of the town's most popular music venues. 那间酒吧成为城里最受欢迎的音乐表演场地之一。下一个是 license 这个动词，它的意思是许可、批准或是特许。可以说The celebrity licensed her name to a number of different products. 那位名人授权自己的名字给几项不同的产品。又或者说 Our original contractor wasn't licensed to do electrical wiring, so we hired a new one. 我们原本的承包商没有安装电路线的许可，所以我们请了一个新的。再来是单字 plantation， 这个名词指的是种植园。例如We visited a banana plantation while traveling around Ecuador. 我们在厄瓜多旅行时参观了一个香蕉园。或是 During my trip to South Korea, I visited a tea plantation and bought some premium whole leaf tea. 我去南韩旅行时造访了一个茶园，买了一些上等的原片茶。
All right, let's talk about the first part. If you're like me and like road trips, this next part is going to be very interesting because we are driving. A 3-hour drive to the west of Havana is Viñales National Park, where you'll find striking limestone hills called mogotes that emerge impressively from the earth. So what is limestone, Roger?
Limestone is a kind of sedimentary rock. It contains calcium carbonate and dolomite, and it's often used in making cement, or concrete for buildings. So these hills are made out of limestone, and they're called mogotes, and they emerge impressively from the earth. Okay, so if something emerges from someplace, it kind of sticks out from that place. Maybe the land around it is relatively flat, but then you have these hills or these structures that emerge right out of the earth. You can't miss them. You see them. Maybe they're like the structures in Guilin in China, or down south in Kaohsiung. I think there's some kind of structures that emerge from the earth as well. They're quite impressive. And so here you could check out those mogotes. And yes, indeed, they do emerge from the earth. They're quite impressive, and you'll want to take pictures of those.
Wow. So it's highly recommended that you stay in one of the many casas particulares, which are basically private homes licensed to host foreign visitors. So they're kind of like bed and breakfasts, or they're houses that people will open up to visitors so that people can come and stay, okay? And when a home is licensed to host someone, it means that they have the proper papers to show that it is legal for me to open up my house to allow visitors to pay and come and stay at my home. So when something is licensed, or when somebody has a license, they have a special identification or paperwork to show that what they are doing is legitimate.
Right. So, of course, Cuba is a communist country, so there may be some restrictions on travel there, but they recommend that you stay in one of these casas particulares, which are private homes licensed to host foreign visitors. So it's kind of like a bed and breakfast, as you said. You could live with a family, get to know them, sample local food, practice your Spanish with them. And yes, indeed, it's recommended that you stay in such a place. You can also take tours of coffee and tobacco plantations, go horseback riding, hike, and explore the depths of the numerous caves that dot the landscape. So there are lots of things you can do in this particular place. You can take a tour of a coffee plantation, which is where they grow coffee beans. They also grow tobacco on plantations there. They're just like really big farms. That's what a plantation is. Like in the American South, during the Civil War, they had cotton plantations, which were big farms where they grew cotton.
Oh, that's right. So if you don't want to just walk around the plantations to look at tobacco and coffee, there are also some other exciting physical things that you can do, like go horseback riding, hike, and explore the depths of the numerous caves that dot the landscape. So horseback riding is basically when you go riding on a horse, and some people, they can do it on their own. They've had experience to ride, but sometimes tourists, if you want to try horseback riding, it's still possible. Usually you will have a guide and they will hold the leash to the horse, and then they will help you ride the horse. And of course, Cuba is dotted with lots of different caves, okay? So the landscape of Cuba has a lot of caves, which are basically these deep places into the mountains where you can visit and travel and explore. But remember, when you go on cave exploration, don't go on your own. Make sure you have a guide or somebody that is experienced to lead you so you don't get stuck.
That's a good suggestion there. That's some good advice. So again, you can go horseback riding, you can ride on a horse, and you can go check out those caves. And they're all over the place there. They dot the landscape. In other words, they are spread out in various locations, and you'll probably need to get some information from people as to which caves are worth going to. Remember, a cave is different from a tunnel. A tunnel goes through a mountain, so cars or a train can pass through the mountain, but a cave does not go all the way through the mountain, and usually it's a large hole in the mountain, and people can go in there and explore and things like that.
And it's natural, right?
And it's natural. It's not artificial, or it's not man-made. Okay, we're at the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Let's listen now to the second part and go to the beach.
Of course, it'd make little sense to visit a beautiful island like Cuba without hitting the beach. Veradero Beach is one of the best, with 20 kilometers of pure white sand and blue water, so crystal clear that it needs to be seen to be believed. But if you prefer a quieter escape, Cayo Coco would be a good choice. It has one of Cuba's most remote beaches, and its peaceful setting helped inspire two of the famous author Ernest Hemingway's novels.
第二部分介绍单字 setting， 它是名词，有环境、位置或是背景的意思。举例来说， Julian never sleeps well in a hotel because he finds it hard to relax in an unfamiliar setting. Julian 在饭店里从没睡好过，因为他发现在陌生的环境中很难放松。又或者说， The house was built in a beautiful setting very close to the lake. 那栋房子建在一个美丽的环境中，非常靠近湖泊。
All right. So, of course, if we come to Cuba, we know that it has beautiful sun and beach. So it's time to go to the beach. Of course, it'd make little sense to visit a beautiful island like Cuba without hitting the beach. It makes little sense. So it doesn't make sense if we come to a beautiful island and not visit the beach, right, Roger?
Right, exactly. If you're a beach person, I don't really like going to the beach myself. I get sand stuck in my feet and it ends up in my swimming suit and things like that. I'd rather go check out those caves or just stay in Havana, but it would make little sense to visit Cuba without hitting the beach. So yes, you want to do this. It would not make sense without hitting the beach, which means you cannot miss hitting the beach. You should really go to the beach. Here, hit means you're not going to go there and bash on it with your fists or something. It just means you're going to go enjoy something. Hey, I'm going to hit the trail. I'm going to go hiking. I'm going to hit the beach. I'm going to go to the beach.
Hey, I'm going to hit the hay. I'm going to go to bed and time to go to sleep.
That's a good one, too. We do use the word hit with lots of different situations. So, yeah, you should enjoy the beach. You should hit the beach. And Veradero Beach is one of the best, with 20 kilometers of pure white sand and blue water, so crystal clear that it needs to be seen to be believed. So they've got pure white sand there, which is kind of rare for beaches around the world, so go check that out. And it's also got blue water. Of course, when you look at the water, it looks so blue, and it's also crystal clear, which means the water is very clear. You can see all the way to the bottom. You can even see fish swimming around. It needs to be seen to be believed. So you won't believe it unless you see it for yourself.
Right. So Veradero Beach is one of the best, and it's 20 kilometers. That's really long for a beautiful, pure white sand beach. Wow, that's very interesting to see. And even just hearing about it right now, I don't believe it. So I guess we really need to go to see it to really see if it's true and to believe it, right? But if you don't want to go to the beach, because we know that sometimes the beach can be crowded with people, especially a popular beach, if you prefer a quieter escape, Cayo Coco would be a good choice. So if you want to escape from the busyness of the city of Havana, or if you think the beach is just too crowded, you want to escape or you want to go away from all of this craziness, you want to get to a quieter place. You can visit this place called Cayo Coco. What is it?
Well, it's a remote beach, so it has one of Cuba's most remote beaches, a beach that is far away from people and other beaches. And its peaceful setting helped inspire two of the famous author Ernest Hemingway's novels. So again, sometimes you don't want to go to the beach because so many people are there. You'd like to have a tropical vacation in a tropical paradise where you have the beach all to yourself. So check out this place. It would be a good choice to get away from it all, to escape from the hustle and bustle of the city or other popular tourist sites. And, of course, it has a remote beach there. And we're talking about this peaceful setting. It's a beautiful setting or a beautiful place. A setting, of course, is where something happens or where something is located. I could say, for example, the setting for this novel is a quiet country village in England. So here we've got this peaceful setting. And I guess Ernest Hemingway went there and he was inspired by this place and he wrote some novels based on his experiences there.
Okay, well, it sounds like these beaches in Cuba are beautiful, but I want to find out more about Cuba. Let's listen to part 3 and see where else we might go.
After journeying through the tropical beauty of Cuba, you may get the urge to write about your own trip. Whether it's a simple journal entry or something more elaborate, setting your memories down in words will help you remember and cherish your time in this unique and inviting country.
第三部分我们看到 urge 这个名词，意思是冲突或是强烈的欲望。例如Phil had the urge to cry when his girlfriend said she wanted to break up. 当 Phil 的女朋友说她想分手时，他有想哭的冲动。或是 Looking around the messy room, Martin felt a strong urge to clean it. 环顾这间凌乱的房间 Martin 有股想要打扫的冲动。再来是片语 set down, 指的是记录或是写下。例如 Marge set down the names of everybody who attended the meeting.Marge 把所有与会者的名字都记下来了。也可以说 The doctor set down the patient's condition as a reference for a follow-up appointment. 医生记录病人的病情，作为回诊的参考。最后看到 cherish, 它是动词，表示珍藏或是珍惜。例如 Becky cherishes her old college friends and she writes to them often. Becky 很珍惜她大学的老友们，而且常常写信给他们。再看一个例子Gail cherishes her collection of antique furniture. Gail 很爱惜她收藏的古董家具。
Okay, part 3 begins by saying, After journeying through the tropical beauty of Cuba, you may get the urge to write about your own trip. Yes, indeed. I like to do that when I travel. I like to write about the things I saw and the places I went and the things I was thinking about. So here we're journeying. We're taking a journey through the tropical beauty of Cuba. And so you might get inspiration or you might get the urge to write in your own diary. An urge here is just a desire to do something. You get the urge to write about something. You might get the urge to do some sketching or to do some photography or whatever. So you might want to write about your own trip to kind of keep a travelogue, if you will.
So that's probably what Ernest Hemingway did. If it inspired two of his novels. Now, traveling through a tropical beauty, usually a tropical country or a tropical island, is a place where they are close to the equator. So the weather there is very unique. So you have tropical vegetation, tropical fruits. So Cuba is a tropical beauty. And since our visit, we've felt very peaceful and relaxed, and we just want to write everything down. So if you want to write things down about your trip, whether it's a simple journal entry or something more elaborate, setting your memories down in words will help you remember and cherish your time in this unique and inviting country. So we've seen a lot on our trip, Roger. How are we going to make sure that they stay in our memories forever?
Most people take pictures, but sometimes, of course, writing about your trip can help as well, as Ernest Hemingway did. So, yeah, it might be a simple journal entry. Today I went to the beach to get some sun, and I met this Dutch couple, and they told me where a good restaurant was and how to get there and where I could buy souvenirs at cheaper prices and not get ripped off by the vendors in Havana or whatever. That might be a journal entry, or it might be something more elaborate with more details. Today I'd like to to write about tropical vegetation in Cuba. Okay, first of all, let's talk about this particular plant and its genus and its subspecies. Yeah, it could be quite elaborate there. But again, you want to set your memories down in words. You just want to write things down in your journal or maybe take notes in your phone. Who knows? And these things will help you remember and cherish your trip in Cuba. If you cherish something, you really appreciate that thing, like you should cherish your times in school or in university, or you should cherish your friends or your family or your coworkers.
Right. So nowadays we all have our phones and we just take videos or photos of our trip. And to be honest, how often do you actually go back to look at those photos and videos?
Yeah, we sometimes just post them and we forget about them.
Yeah.
But of course, if you take some nice photos or some nice videos of your trip to Cuba, you'll want to watch them for the rest of your life so that you'll remember and cherish your time in this unique, special, and inviting country. So what are you waiting for? Contact your travel agent right now. And what we're going to do right now is listen to our cherished Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分介绍了云尼斯国家公园，在那里你会发现惊人的石灰岩山丘从地面上拔地而起，令人印象深刻。文中是用到单字 emerge 去表达出那种出现露出的语义。那我们来学一下它的字首字根。好， merg 或是 mers 这一类字根，它有下沉、下降或者是骤降的意思。在 emerge 这个字当中，它的字首 e 表示向外， merge 表示下沉。那当某个东西从下沉的状态向外向上浮出，应该可以联想到 emerge 它有这种出现浮现、显现的意思。我们在 emerge 后面接名词字尾 ency 变成 emergency， 就表示紧急状况。那就可以试着想象说，某件事它原本是隐没没有被注意到的状态，当它突然冒出来，就会需要立即的关注，需要紧急处理。用这样方式也许就可以联想到 emergency 它有紧急状况的意思了。好，那我们顺便补充其他有这一类字根的单字。第一个是 submerge， 它的字首 sub 表示下方， merge 表示下沉，那往下方沉下去，应该就可以联想到 submerge， 它的意思是使潜入水中、没入水中、浸没的那种意思。第二个补充的是 merger， 它的字根 merg 表示下沉，er 是名词字尾，合在一起 merger 它表示合并、并购。同学们可以想象，当某家公司被并购，就好像没入了另一间公司里而消失不见了，这样应该可以联想到 merger 它可以表达公司、企业等等的合并。好，第三个补充的是 immersion， 它的字首 im 是来自 in 表示进入， mers 这个字根表示下沉，ion 是名词字尾，那我们可以用心思沉入某事物，完全沉浸在里面，去联想说 immersion 它有沉浸专注的意思。那我们读到课文第二部分第一句，他说 Of course it make little sense to visit a beautiful island like Cuba without hitting the beach。 当然，如果到古巴这样的美丽的岛屿却不去海滩，实在没什么道理。好， make sense 在这边就是表达合理、讲得通，可以用来指说某个行为模式是有道理、合乎情理的。 sense 的前面可以加入 a lot of 或者是 much 来修饰很合理，或者是也可以加入 little 或是 no 来表达几乎不合理或是不合理。那我们课文用到这个句型 it make little sense to 原形动词，再加上 without 加动名词，这就是表达若不做某事就几乎没有意义或不合理。那这边是以双重否定，用 little 和 without， 然后去强调出做某事的必要性。也就是如果你到古巴这样美丽的岛屿，就一定要去海滩，不然没什么道理啊。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Emerge.
As the guards stood watch outside the gate, they saw a man on a horse slowly emerge from the fog.
License. Although he had claimed to be a doctor, The man was arrested because he was not actually licensed to practice medicine. Setting. The pretty garden on a sunny day provided the perfect setting for a picnic. Urge. In spite of feeling sleepy, Henry couldn't resist the urge to watch another video. Elaborate. The feast for the wedding was particularly elaborate, featuring many delicious dishes and desserts. Cherish. Pamela cherished the old photo of her grandparents and the memories it brought back.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Okay, it's time for our discussion starter for today. Here's the question. If you had a chance to visit Cuba, where would you like to go most and why?
I'm most interested in visiting Havana and seeing the Malecón because I've always seen it in movies and pictures, so it's always been something I wanted to do. I wanted to walk down the Malecón and look at those beautiful classic cars.
Sounds cool. Well, yeah, I'd like to hang out in Havana and have the chance to actually talk to people because I do speak some Spanish and it would be a good way for me to brush up on my Spanish. But, well, I sort of like quiet places too, so maybe I would go to Cayo Coco for a couple of days or so to get away from it all and feel like a human being again.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoy reading along with us. I am Kiki.
I am Roger.
See you next time.